wasn't to treat Islam differently or Muhammad. It was to treat Islam exactly the same way that secular free people have the right to talk about every religion. And this gentleman and others are trying through the front door, some people through the front door with Kalashnikovs and others through the back door with this kind of weasel talk. What they do is try to make one religion free from being able to be criticized, and it must be stopped.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are meeting me for the first time, my name is Clevy and it is so nice to meet you. We are back with another video, and of course you guys, you already know I love me a good debate. Simply because we always have a lot to talk about, you know. I just love picking up on people's brains, you know, different perspectives to topics, and I just can't get enough of it. And you guys, this is titled Douglas Murray Joins Big Questions Debate. Are you ready? Because I am. So let's get started.
Charlie Hebdo was the only paper in the world, really, that continued to say it is our right as secular French citizens to draw, lampoon, laugh at, write about whatever we want. We're free people in a free society. They were the only ones who held on to that. And obviously on Wednesday morning we know what happened as a result. So any one publication would, I think, undoubtedly put its staff at considerable risk. That's why I've suggested this week, repeated what Ayaan Hirsi Ali said after the Danish cartoons affair. We have to spread the risk around. The free press in the free world has to spread the risk around. Our freedoms hang on this. It cannot be left to a single individual or a single publication, a single satirical magazine, to hold the line for all of our freedoms.
Raza Nadim, I come to you because you are scowling.
Yeah, because I disagree with everything he said so far. Because
everything?
Yeah, most of what he said. Because I stopped listening after a while because it just didn't make sense. When he talks about we should, you know, the news Charlie Hebdo published whatever they wanted, that's rubbish. They were overtly racist towards Muslims. They were always lampooning Arabs and being overtly racist in most of their publications, and it smacks of hypocrisy because they were prepared in the name of freedom of speech to sack a journalist who wrote a column that they considered to be anti-Semitic. So how come there's a line there, but when it comes to Muslims, it doesn't matter, take it on the chin. Why are we treated differently from others?
Could I just answer that?
He was charged with a hate crime as well.
Sorry, it's really rich. There are 12 people dead.
Oh, please, no, don't try to use their deaths. No. Just don't. Please, don't try, because I just give you an example where they did... No, let me finish my point. No. The clear example where they don't care for freedom of speech.
Okay, on that
example,
Douglas will address that example. If he doesn't, we'll make it. And then I'll come back to you and ask you another question.
A dozen people were killed, and they're now being smeared as racists, like this gentleman here. And I think that's intolerable.
No, I did not.
He clearly knows nothing about Charlie Hebdo,
I just gave you an example.
Nothing about France, nothing about French traditions of free speech. Charlie Hebdo is a left-wing, anti-racist publication. It has lampooned and does lampoon everybody. In recent years, it has taken particular delight in lampooning. Most of the attacks on Charlie Hebdo, the non-physical attacks, have been from the Catholic Church, repeated attempts to criminalise Charlie Hebdo for what it says about the Pope. Marine Le Pen, the far-right wing leader, is one of the main targets of their satire. You don't understand anything.
I just gave you an example.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, and then thereafter we're going to spread the love, okay? As it were. Raza, I mean, Douglas touches on this. France has a long, some would say fantastic, certainly very proud tradition of vulgar and rude and anti-religious cartoons. Isn't it a cultural imposition for a minority to seek to change that?
Muslims
answer that question.
In France, in 2006, a rapper was prosecuted for saying, "I want to urinate on Napoleon." So where's this, you know, in believing in a person, you know, we can offend whoever we want? It's rubbish. Muslims are being asked to believe in freedom of speech more than others are, because in France they're prepared to prosecute an individual on that basis. They've banned comedians that they consider to be anti-Semitic. Now I'm saying it's right, if someone's being anti-Semitic, stop them. But why, when we're saying someone is being Islamophobic and anti-Muslim, we're saying, well, take it on the chin. Why are we treated differently?
If it's unacceptable, as many people feel it is. Many people find it deeply offensive to see cartoons of the Muslim prophet Muhammad. Is there any way in which it is acceptable to poke fun at Islam?
If you want to poke fun, no one really cares. But the thing is, this isn't about poking fun.
We're not talking about cartoons. Is there any way?
Well, no, hang on. No, this wasn't about poking fun. This case is being painted as a freedom of speech issue, and it's clearly linked to the war on terror. If you look at the cartoon, the killers, what they say, we're part of Al Qaeda. It wasn't a cartoon that riled them up. It was foreign policy and the war on terror. Why do you?
Let me take it to Majid Nawaz. Majid, of course, you tweeted one of the Jesus and Mo cartoons. Most people would say it was relatively innocuous. It was a divine figure saying hello to a prophet, and a prophet saying hello back again, basically. One of the other cartoons was slightly more...
Slightly less innocuous.
Yeah, less innocuous. That's the word, that's the phrase I'm looking for. You had death threats. Answer Raza Nadim's point.
Well, first of all, I just want to make it clear that not all Muslims define offence in the same way. Not all Muslims take offence at the same things in the same way. Muslims are not homogenous, and I don't claim to speak on behalf of Muslims, but I think likewise, nor should anybody else. So when somebody comes on this show and says, well, Muslims find that offensive, I think what they really mean is, I find that offensive because I'm very insecure in my own belief about God. The second point I'd like to make is that there is no right, yes, there is a right to be offended. There certainly is no right to tell others or insist that others do not offend you. They are two very different things. Everyone is free to take offence at anything. I mean, people could take offence at my dress sense. But what they cannot do is insist that I dress in a way that doesn't offend them. They are two very different things, and that's important when discussing cartoons. The second thing to distinguish is that every idea is open to scrutiny. No idea, whether it's a philosophy or a religion, is immune, or can be, or should be immune from scrutiny. That's different from hate speech.
But would there not have been a very different attitude? I'll come to a second and concentrate down. Would there not have been a very different attitude to, for example, as there was, anti-Semitic cartoons?
Well,
what's the difference?
That's why I'm making that's why I'm drawing this distinction, because first of all, Jews are a race, and anti-Semitism is stigmatizing a people. I've often said no idea is above scrutiny, and no people are beneath dignity. And if these were racist cartoons, then there's a legitimate conversation to be had about racism. The reason that I said I wasn't offended at the cartoon that you've just highlighted, it was a stick figure of a character called Jesus saying hello to a stick figure of a character called Mo. And the character called Mo said, how are you doing? The reason I picked that particular cartoon to say I wasn't offended at that is because it left no other option for people that take the view that this gentleman's taken, except to say that's blasphemy. And what I suspect is that the issue at hand is, there's a separate debate about racial hate speech. The issue at hand is that many vocal, active, kind of communal, self-identifying, politicized Muslims will take an issue with blasphemy per se, and what they don't want is any depiction of the Prophet in any way.
Dan, hold it a minute, but I must come back
to you. That's problematic, and that's problematic.
Was that Jesus and Mo cartoon that he tweeted, was that blasphemy?
I don't think it was blasphemy. But the thing is, again, like you said, people may have different views. But the point is, he's qualified freedom of speech, saying it's all good apart from racism. That's bad. Well, hang on, then you don't believe in absolute freedom of speech, do you? You're saying that it's all relative at the end of the day.
Quickly, there are some people speaking about who have clearly sort of mugged up on Charlie Hebdo in the last couple of days and drawn from this tragedy whatever they like. But you really should know more if you're going to speak about this.
And I have shown more about than you about this topic.
You're going to need to know more before you smear dead
I'm not sparing. I'm not
but let me just, one thing you may not be aware of, one thing you may not be aware of, but it's worth throwing into the discussion, is that there are laws on the continent, particularly to do with anti-Semitism and particularly to do with the Holocaust. And let me just explain, because you may again not know this, but the historical reasons for that. France has historical reasons to be incredibly sensitive of anti-Semitism in particular, because within people's living memory, tens of thousands of Jews were put on trains and slaughtered.
So we shouldn't be sensitive of Islamophobia?
No, let me explain.
Well, we shouldn't be sensitive of it. There's a secret website called Google. Let me finish the point I'm making.
There are very specific reasons. There are very specific reasons. There are very specific reasons in France and Germany why some of those laws exist. But let me get back to the main point which you've been trying to divert us from. That's this. What is going on with this is an attempt not to make Islam be treated differently, and not to making Charlie Hebdo. It wasn't to treat Islam differently or Muhammad. It was to treat Islam exactly the same way that secular free people have the right to talk about every religion. And this gentleman and others are trying through the front door, some people through the front door with Kalashnikovs and others through the back door with this kind of weasel talk. What they do is try to make one religion free from being able to be criticised, and it must be stopped.
Ooh, that was definitely a lot. You guys know that I try as much as possible, not to pause, whilst the debate is going on, so it doesn't disrupt the flow. So let me just quickly wrap, a tune or two that I jotted down, whilst the video was playing. So the question is, does freedom of speech give the right to offend? Does freedom of speech give the right to offend? Please, if you're here, you could also drop, your comments, your own opinion, your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to be respectful of one another. All right. So, does it give one the right to offend? Is there anything you would do that won't offend someone? That's the problem. Not everyone will be offended, but someone will be offended. I can say something right now. You might not be offended. It won't even mean a thing to you. But to another person, they would see an issue with what I said. So I feel like, the problem now should be, when you get offended, what do you do? Because honestly, is there anything that you will not do without one or two people always being offended by? It's impossible. Then I almost stopped. I almost interrupted that video just because I was tired of all of the points being raised and they are putting religion and racism on the same sentence. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It shouldn't be the same. And I'm glad that that woman, really did speak up about it. And I'm glad it was established later on. Like, why will you put those two things? Your race is not a. Did me and you choose to be the way we are? We did not choose that. Your race is not a choice, but religion is. I am Christian now. Tomorrow I might decide to join another religion. It is not racism. So I'm glad that was really sorted out. I'm like, why were those things on? Why religion and racism? Why? Then again, another point. If if you've been on the channel for quite a while, you would know that I have people on the channel who tag Douglas Murray Islamophobic. And you see him repeatedly say, I'm not. I'm just pointing out something I don't like about, this religion. But then he just tag it and like, it's Islamophobic. And that with every time anyone tries to scrutinize or say a thing or two that doesn't sit well with Muslims, you would see that this particular word, you will see it slammed. Boom. You are Islamophobic. Is there anything like Christianophobic? Please, there should start being a word like that. There should start being a word like that. Because the word we've seen countless times on here is Islamophobic. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. If there's something you don't like about this particular religion, you should be free to at least say it. That's why there's freedom of speech. You should be at least free to at least say without someone tagging you or saying, oh, that is you guys. I don't even want this video to be as longer than it already is. Like we normally do at see in the comment section. We're going to bounce off our opinions of each other. So see you right there.